All right. Oh, you love doing that.
I didn't do it.
You did.
This is the first time I've ever done that.
You've done that before.
No, I haven't.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah.
We're about to be in a fight.
Oh, boy.
You've never
live recorded podcast.
Live? This is not live.
We're live to each other.
Okay.
Hey, welcome to Not Suitable for Adults. It's the podcast where we watch shows and then we tell you if we like them or not. The shows are aimed at children, but we ourselves are grown-ups.
Well, we try to be.
Usually. Some of the time.
Well, I think maybe 50% of us try more than the other for 50% of us.
Right, which results in an over 50%, I would say, success rate across the board. This is Not Suitable for Adults. Let's get going. Hey, how's the new year going so far?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're 3 days in. How's it going for you?
Well, you've been here.
Sure.
You know what I've been doing.
Sure. They don't know.
I've barely moved myself off of my little old behind.
Sounds great.
But, tomorrow is the first Monday of the new year, and so we're all going to be getting back on it.
Back to the grindstone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have been working every day, but I always get done before you guys are even up, so sometimes I forget that that's part of my day.
Right. It makes your day very long.
It does. My days are very long.
Well, much appreciated.
Thanks.
And now we can do the fun /work thing of this that we're doing now.
Hey.
Hey.
How was your New Year been?
Oh, so far it's perfect.
Okay. Jeez.
On midnight, the magic of New Year's has changed this into a brand new slate's clean, nothing's wrong in the world anymore, right?
That's not true.
It's not?
No.
Are you sure?
Everybody.
Okay, it's not true. I'm just joking. Yes, you should be aware that there are still things you should pay attention to in the world.
Yes. New Year does not mean everything just restarted. I think some of us hoped it would.
Yeah.
Some of us were thinking maybe 2021 would be this, it would kind of be like Y2K, but better.
You mean like how we all woke up that day expecting things to be terrible and it turned out everything was fine?
It turned out everything was just the next day.
Yeah.
Well, we were hoping that for 2021, but instead of it being terrible, everything had just erased from the last year.
Like we were all sleeping for a year.
Yeah, but actually when we woke up the next day, it was actually just the next day.
Yeah.
So, everybody keep safe. Keep doing the things you were doing in 2020, please.
Unless you were doing bad stuff in 2020, then start doing good stuff.
There you go.
That's what New Year's resolutions are for. Mm-hmm. Kind of.
Yeah. I was such a bad person in 2020. I've just resolved to be good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
But we're still doing what we did in 2020, which is talk about TV shows and movies.
Yes.
Don't sound so excited.
No,
yeah.
That sounded so bored. It was. Yes. It just came out like a croak, like a frog.
We have 3 fun things to talk about today.
Yeah, we do.
And
3 kind of little. We have 3 little guys.
Yeah.
So we decided to do 3 little guys instead of 2 big guys.
Yeah. 2 little guys. All right. I'm going to do mine back to back because they're they're not related per se, but they're very close together.
I have to say, the thing that I just did where I said little guys, I do that often.
Yes.
When I'm speaking, just
and Cora
normally.
has started to do it.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Cora has started calling.
It's just a little guy.
She starts calling things little guys. Or ooh, that's a big guy. And I think it's the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here are some things. This first show that I'm going to talk about, I decided to watch because I realized it was on Hulu and I could. Mm-hmm. And I've had people say, "Oh, have you watched this show yet?" Or I've seen it on related lists of shows that I've reviewed before.
Well, this one is quite popular, I believe.
It's very popular.
Yes.
And I just haven't ever gotten around to watching / reviewing it. Mm-hmm. It is Adventure Time.
Yes, I've never seen it, but it has been around for a while, right?
It has. It originally originated.
Okay.
It originated for the first time. And it looks like 2010.
It originally originated for the very first time.
The first time it ever originated was in 2010.
Okay, so it's been around for 10 years.
Yeah, so it started out actually as a like short that came out on, I think it looks like maybe a Nickelodeon Nicktoons or an offshoot of Nickelodeon. Mm-hmm. And it was a very popular sort of short, and so it got greenlit for a full series. And so here is the general premise of Adventure Time. You've got, it's actually Adventure Time's, what is it? Adventure Time with Finn and Jake. And Finn is Finn the human, and Jake is Jake the dog. And that's how they're referred to in the opening theme song. It's like with Jake the dog and Finn the human, and it's talking about them. And so it turns out that the reason I say that is because we're in sort of a, not post-apocalyptic, but like a distant future world where it's very magical and sort of based on like Dungeons and Dragons and that sort of fantasy stuff. The animation to me is very sort of psychedelic. Jake the dog has these sort of, right in the first episode, he has these magic powers where he can like just randomly grow himself or shrink himself. And like, so like he's playing with someone and like you see him in what looks like sort of the foreground, but it turns out he's very far away, just gigantic, like walking across the forest. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty fun show. I watched 5 episodes of this. And I was struck by 2 things when I got to the end of the 5th episode. One was that I wasn't enjoying myself as much as I thought I was going to.
Oh, I've heard that it's a funny show, right?
It is.
It is definitely, it's really funny.
It's definitely comedic. And I think if I go back, because I was watching it with the lens of like, is this for like, what do I think of this as like a kid's show? Mm. And there were several moments where I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel like a kid's show. And then I went and looked, and yeah, it's TVPG. Mm. It's like, so it is for kids, quote unquote, but like for
older kids,
for like 10-year-olds and up. So basically like teenagers. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 10-year-olds these days are basically teenagers.
Well, that's what I mean though. Like that would be the youngest group.
But I'm saying what I'm saying.
You are saying they're basically teenagers.
I'm saying they're basically teenagers. I'm saying that when I was 10, I would have never watched anything like this. But kids younger and younger and younger are starting to watch more and more mature, in quotes, mature things, or things that I would not have watched when I was a kid.
Right. So, like I said, I have not seen this whole series. There are something like 10 seasons or something. 10 seasons, 283 episodes of this show. So I'm nowhere near watching it all, and I would like to keep watching it because it should be directly down my alley. Mm-hmm. And I might even start over. Like I might go back and watch it again, just like okay, now I'm just watching it for fun for me. I
think this is one that my brothers really like, isn't it? Yeah.
At least I don't know if I've heard Ben talk about it. I'm sure Jed has.
Oh, I was thinking the other way around. But
really?
Whatever.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see. Hey, you guys.
One of us is right.
One of us is right.
They are short episodes, so they're like 11-minute episodes. It's one of those deals where like they can stack 2 or 3 depending on how much time they have on the given channel. It came out on Cartoon Network. So again, not super surprising, like knowing that like Cartoon Network tends to make a little bit more mature cartoons.
Right. Cartoon Network is like Powerpuff Girls and like, that show that actually I never liked, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah.
I always thought was like really weird to me.
Yeah.
But like that's a Cartoon Network type show.
Right. I think another thing that left me maybe a little bit lost, and again, this is what makes me want to go through and watch more of it, just so I can get caught up, is like I stumbled across as I was trying to get a little bit prepared for this. I stumbled across like kind of a series synopsis that was a little bit spoilery, and so yeah, it spoiled a little bit for me, but not in a terrible way. But from the beginning, episode 1 just sort of throws you in. And so like you're just there with Finn and Jake in
any backstory
in like the Candy Kingdom.
Ooh,
with
delicious.
this princess bubblegum and these and all this like trippy stuff happening. Little parenting break.
Well, wasn't that a fun adventure we just had?
Yeah. We got to go see one of Cora's little dolls doing a gymnastic.
Yes. So she ran into the room as we were talking about it, Adventure Time. She ran in, Mommy, Daddy, come quick.
You have to
see this. She goes, okay, here we come. We come out, and literally her doll is just
hanging upside down
like by her feet. She's like, she's doing a gymnastic. And we're like, that's such a good gymnastic.
All right. So, Finn and Jake, like I said, we're just kind of thrown into the action. But it sounds like there's a rich background to this world that I just don't.
You're not there yet.
I haven't learned about it.
Do you learn about it as the series goes, or
you must because the IMDb. Are you
supposed to know?
Because the IMDb synopsis of the series has tons of information that I basically only knew the names of 3 characters. It starts off here. I won't. Well, it doesn't matter to you. So people, I mean, you might. I don't know if you're going to want to watch it or not.
I don't know, maybe. You don't know me.
So I'm going to read. So I've told you what I just told you about these characters.
You did tell me what you just told me.
Here's how the storyline synopsis begins on the IMDb page for Adventure Time.
Okay.
Professor Simon Petrikoff is driven insane by an ancient magic crown. The magic, which is the only thing that keeps him and his adopted demon daughter, Marceline, alive after the human world is destroyed. Now, none of that.
Are you sure you started on like episode 1?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm having to move my mics.
Okay. So there's obviously stuff, and then it goes on to talk about how like Finn and Jake fit into this world, and
but they're like at
Princess
the bottom
Bubblegum.
of the paragraph.
Yeah, but they're like in the middle, the second half of the beginning of the second half of the paragraph.
The who? What the professor with the demon daughter?
It sounds very interesting. Like as I read the rest of it, I'm like, yeah, this sounds really cool. But I
guess you just got to stick with it.
I guess I just got to stick with it.
Maybe because you said it started out as like a short, maybe they decided to, when they made it, like, did you miss something in the shorts?
I don't. That was a weird way. Did you miss something in the shorts?
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Because you didn't see the shorts.
I don't. I don't think...
I wonder what was in the shorts.
I don't think so, because it was a separate thing. Like, this is the beginning of a series.
Yeah, but you could have. Maybe you missed.
Go back and look in the shorts.
Maybe you missed a big plot line in the shorts.
All right.
Didn't you say that it started out with?
Yeah, but it's like my impression is that it's like how Napoleon Dynamite was a student film, and then they made a feature length movie out of it. It's not like you didn't miss something if you didn't watch the Napoleon Dynamite student film.
I guess I didn't even really realize that had happened.
Really?
I mean, you know how much I love my Napoleon.
John Heder made that in college. He made it was like a 20-minute video of Napoleon Dynamite with a few other people in a bunch of those roles. And then I don't know, someone was like, that's amazing. Let's make a whole movie out of that. And so some of the scenes in the final movie are shot for shot remakes of his student film.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite. That is not a terrible movie for kids.
No.
That's actually a pretty, I think I watched it the first time. When did it come out?
I don't even remember.
I'm pretty sure I was pretty young when I watched it for the first time. Hey,
it was a good movie.
If you guys haven't shown, I mean, younger kids won't care about it.
They won't,
but the
even
older
get
kids
it.
might think it's hilarious.
It's just
like
silly.
I did.
Yeah.
Man, I love that movie.
It's a very
we need to
silly
watch
movie.
that movie again.
Anyway, Adventure Time. I will say to its credit, the animation is interesting and, like I said, fairly psychedelic. Mm-hmm. It's kind of basic, but it's also fun looking. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, it's been around now for, I don't know if it's still, I think maybe it's done, but it ran for 10 seasons, and bad shows don't generally run for 10 seasons, so I will definitely stick with it. The second show that I want to talk about...
But this, again, reiterate, older kids.
Older kids, for sure.
Yes. This isn't a let your 5-year-old watch this sort of thing. Unless, I mean, that's up to every parent, I think.
Yeah, but this one's a little bit different. This one isn't, like, necessarily just for older kids because of the, like, creatures. Sometimes that's what we'll notice, like... Okay, it's TV 14 or whatever, but it's because there's a scary dragon or there's a scary monster.
More images that might have a fearful response.
There's a couple of times, like, when they're talking about, ooh, what a sexy thing to say, or something like that. And so, like, and so, like, it's a little bit of the and it's not.
I don't know what
I don't either. It's random.
Like if they...
But they talk about something...
Like if you say, what's in the shorts?
Yeah, very sexy.
Ooh, what a sexy thing to say.
But there's a couple of times when they're talking about, like, I think, like, Finn, like, has a crush on Princess Bubblegum, mm-hmm. and there's something, and it's not like there's nothing explicit ever, like, mm-hmm. like said, and he's only supposed to be, like, 12 years old, so, like, mm-hmm. But, like, they say something about something being sexy, and to me, that is, like, yep, we've officially crossed into older kid when you start talking about something being sexy.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but anyway, it's fun. It looks like a fun show. Like I said, it was, for some reason, it didn't click with me from the drop, but I'm going to stick with it, and I'll maybe give an update on it, like I do sometimes. Great. The second show, though, that I found came up because I was like, I don't know. I was going to take a break. I got the end of episode 5 of Adventure Time, and I was backing out of Hulu, and it was like, you just watched some Adventure Time. You might like this show. And that show... It's called The Amazing World of Gumball. The Amazing World of Gumball is, I think, really very funny. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most unique looking shows I've ever seen.
And this is on Hulu?
This is on Hulu. It, again, originally ran on Cartoon Network.
Okay. So it's got kind of like that same older kid style?
Yeah, a little bit. And from what I understand, this one... The original cuts of the episodes were TV PG as well, but they edited them down to be TV Y7.
Okay.
So, and that's maybe something important to remember. Like, so when you're watching it, it's not like it's super kiddie. It's just that they've left out slightly more mature content.
Okay. So this is rated Y7?
This is rated Y7.
Okay.
This show came out in sort of a similar time. I believe this one came out, in 2011. So just a year after Adventure Time was launched. And I think that this is true for a lot of animation around that time. I think a lot of animation was informed by Adventure Time because there were a bunch of sort of resurgence of that. What I think I've seen on Wikipedia referred to as anarchic comedy.
Oh, what did you say?
Anarchic. So, like, anarchy. Like,
okay.
Kind of crazy and zany
gotcha.
Animation and comedy styles for kids. And so, this one, though, is very interesting. What's up, baby?
Mommy, my kitten escaped.
Oh, no.
And now there's a dog in my house trying to catch her.
Good luck.
I'll try to put her in her tiny cage.
Okay.
We wish you the best of luck.
Bye.
Close the door, please. Or crack it.
Thank you. Oh, good wink. Love you.
That was funny.
She does the best.
She just did a little wink. She's being very imaginative today.
Yes, she is. There's a lot of imagination happening.
Yeah. So anyway, The Amazing World of Gumball. Here's the thing that I like about this. I'm going to read this word for word off of the Wikipedia page, but I love this about this show. It says, one unique feature of the series is its lack of stylistic unity. Characters are designed, filmed, and animated using multiple styles and techniques. Specifically, stylized traditional animation, puppetry, CGI, stop motion, flash animation, and live action.
Oh, so all of those things. Okay, so is one creature one of those things, or can one creature be all of those things?
So far, I've only seen about 3 episodes of this so far. But so far, each character is one of those things.
Interesting. That is quite interesting.
And so, like,
I
for
bet
instance,
that's a lot of work.
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing you notice is that the core characters, which are, I'm going to have to find them here. Hang on. I'll find them in a second. But the core characters are all sort of just regular animated characters.
Okay.
The background for almost everything you see at the beginning of this show looks like a real background. So it looks like almost a picture of a real setting. Mm-hmm. And then they just have animation running in front of it. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can find this. This is great. This is great radio.
Looking through the list of things.
Why isn't there a character list?
Look over to the right. Over to the right. What's the list?
Okay. So this is the family. This is who I was trying to find. There's Gumball, who's the main character.
Yes.
And he's a blue cat. And then there is his adopted 10-year-old brother, Darwin Watterson. They're all the Wattersons. Darwin Watterson is a goldfish, but he's the same size as all the other characters. And like when you see him, you'll see like
does he walk around? Yep.
You'll see Gumball like on the top bunk of a bunk bed, and then he'll be talking down, and Darwin is like smashed into a little fishbowl, but then he'll like pop out and stand up and be talking. It's just that his bed is a fishbowl. And then younger sister, I don't know if I've heard them say her name. It's like Anais. She's your typical younger sister.
Is she a cat?
She's also a cat, pink cat.
Okay. I was wondering if all of this family were different animals. I know you said the fish was adopted, but
right. They're all cats except Darwin.
Okay.
And then Nicole and Richard. And Richard he's a gigantic, so the parents do the mom is very smart, the dad is adult,
typical.
Trope, which is very typical. But it's funny. They execute it well. So,
they aren't wrong.
So funny. So, the mom is like, oh yeah, like, she doesn't trust these kids to do things, and rightfully so, because everywhere they go, they cause trouble. Mm-hmm. And the dad's like, it'll be fine. And then she's like, okay, well, we got to go to a PTA meeting. He's like, no, I'm not going to go. And you see him like sitting on a, I'm not doing it. He's sitting on a couch, like in a pink polo and just his underpants. And she's like, we're going no matter. He's like, but I don't have my pants on. And it's really dumb.
Okay.
Anyway, but then you see the different characters. So like the teacher that they go to see in a parent teacher conference is like, I think a stop motion dinosaur.
Okay.
And some neighbors that they're trying to help, but they're really making things worse. It's very up. The neighbors are puppets, like Muppet style puppets. It's really weird.
Why did you say it's very up?
It's kids trying to help an older person, but making things worse.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. You said the neighbors are trying to help them. No, and
I'm sorry. They have these neighbors. They're the kids are trying to help the neighbors.
Oh, I see.
But making things worse.
Because I thought you said the neighbors were trying to help the kids, and it's just like Up. And I was like, wait, what am I missing? Okay, gotcha. So this sounds like just a visual smorgasbord.
Yeah, it's a smorgasbord. It's a slurry.
A plethora.
It's a miasma.
Oh, that's a good one.
Of many things.
Mm-hmm. It's a potluck, you might say, or a visual buffet. Okay,
mm-hmm.
All right.
What else might you say?
I was hoping you wouldn't come up with another one, so I would know too. Okay.
It's a lot of things. And it's all very interesting to look at. If you didn't pay attention to anything else that's going on and you just watched it, it would probably be a lot of fun. Just because it mixes up so many styles. It is, so the thing about both of these shows, at least so far, from a parent perspective, is these are definitely the shows that like don't really have a
moral.
They don't have like a moral necessarily.
Or ethical.
You might like
Excuse me.
Kids might glean from Gumball like, okay, well, they did this terrible thing, and so I should listen to my parents because I don't want to fill my house with water.
There aren't values being bestowed upon the watcher.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, they're just for fun.
Yeah.
Just for silliness.
Yeah, because values aren't usually fun.
Well.
What I mean is when you say just for fun, like that you're not learning a lot of things.
Right. They're not educational shows.
Yeah.
But they are very fun. And they, I think, are both worth a look. The one that left me with the most positive feelings was The Amazing World of Gumball. And that is in a slightly better range as far as like suitability for younger children. Actually, we watched Cora and I watched a couple of episodes of it. This is another one where it's like 11-minute episodes. So like we watched a couple of them and she was like, oh yeah, she thought she had seen it before. So like maybe it's popped up on YouTube Kids or something. But yeah, it's fun. They're both very fun. I'm going to watch more of a little of both of them. I'm probably going to spend more time on Adventure Time. Because that one feels like
you're wanting to get into that deep,
I
rich.
I want to figure out what
richness.
I'm missing
Yes.
with that, because so far I feel like I'm missing something.
Gotta figure out about the professor and his demon daughter.
I gotta learn about his professor. His. I'll do a little background on him because he's a professor. But where did he get his credentials? That's what I want to know.
Okay, whatever.
No, I just said the wrong thing.
I don't feel sure.
So, anyway, that was two whole things that I just talked about. I think we deserve a break. Let's pull over for just a second and we'll pull over at like a truck stop and just close our eyes in Promoville.
Does Promoville have to-go margaritas? Because I could.
No.
Promoville's a dry county. Sorry, I just snorted. I don't know why I thought that was so funny. It really wasn't.
Drink and take out margaritas again in Promoville.
I don't know why I thought. Okay.
Promoville's a dry county.
I don't know why. Okay. Go. Do it. Stop already.
And we're back.
Oh, man.
Sorry it took me so long to pull over in Promoville. There, Natalie.
Jeez.
Hey, what are you going to talk about?
So, we're going to take it back down to our littler kiddos with mine. You typically go for the older aged things, unless we're talking about movies, and those are usually the older kids. I'm going to talk about another preschool show that Cora has been watching more of. It is on Netflix, and it is called Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, and I think it is super cute.
Yeah, it's this show. I'll go ahead and just tell you, when I first heard it, I thought she was watching Peppa Pig.
That is exactly right. Here we go. Let's get into it. It is a British preschool animated TV series. It is created by Neville Astley and Mark Baker, and they have the Astley, Baker, Davies, and Entertainment One. So those companies, like Entertainment One and the other production company that they run, those are responsible for Peppa Pig.
They're the ones responsible.
Yes. So going into it, you already know there's going to be some similarities between them. But other than the voices, because there are a lot of crossovers with voices, it's very different.
Yeah.
So this show is set in the Little Kingdom, and you kind of zoom in, and it's under like blades of grass. And when we say little kingdom, we mean tiny.
Itty bitty.
Itty bitty. It's hidden in some like thorny bushes. It is ruled by King and Queen Thistle, and they live in the little castle.
Oh, they live in the little castle.
They have 3 daughters, Holly.
They have $3.
I said daughters.
Okay.
Or maybe I said dollars because then I said Holly. Maybe I was thinking elves. What's up, dude?
I want you to change it because I want to watch Ryan now.
Can you give me a few minutes, please?
No.
Nope. Okay. Dollars or daughters. They have 3 of them. Holly, who is a titular character. And she has younger sisters who are twins, Daisy and Poppy. And they are fairies.
Right.
The other people of this world, or the other main group of this world, are the elves. And they live in the Great Elf Tree, which is a school, it's a library, it's like mission control, it's also an apartment block, it's a factory for toys and wands. Like, the Great Elf Tree is big, and it has all these things in it. And Ben, who is our other titular character, and Holly are best friends. Ben is an elf, Holly is a fairy. Fairies use a lot of magic, and elves use their hands, basically. Elves are workers, fairies are magic users. The fairies are usually named for plants and so like flora and fauna, like Holly and Poppy and what was the other one? Daisy. Yeah.
And thistles.
Yes, and the thistles. Ben is a very young elf, and Holly is a very young fairy, so they're kind of figuring out the world around them and what the difference is between their 2 different groups, the elves and the fairies. Let me see. So, and Holly does a lot of magic because she is young. She's learning how to do it, but a lot of times it's to the detriment of those around her, or she gets herself into scrapes. They have a nanny, Nanny Plum, and she is a housekeeper for the castle. She is the 3 girls' nanny, and she is really good at magic. So she teaches the girls. She's kind of like their magic tutor. And she often is getting Holly and her friends out of the magic trouble that they have gotten themselves into. She is also a tooth fairy. And that's how we meet our human character named Lucy. We meet, Nanny Plum goes in as a tooth fairy to Lucy's house, and they get in a little bit of a scrape and wake up Lucy, and Lucy realizes that there are fairies and elves, but she is keeping their secret for them, and they are friends with this human girl. Nanny Plum, back to her, she is very bossy, she's very clean, and she has a little bit of a rival with the wise old elf. So we have Nanny Plum from the fairies that lives in the castle, and we have the wise old elf who is kind of the elder of the elves. I mean, that's what wise old elf.
That's why he's wise and old. Yeah.
From the Great Elf Tree. And they don't care for the way each other does anything. He says, "We're elves," and they do it the elf way. And she says, "We're fairies," and they do it the magic way. They don't really get along very much at all. And they often have quite little biting remarks about each other.
Yeah.
It's kind of a friendly rivalry, so they're not it's not displaying a lot of bad behavior like bullying or being mean to each other. It's more of like
they just have different views on the world.
Yes, but they also don't really get along. So it's good to kind of see two people that don't get along, and a lot of times they have to, come up with solutions together anyway.
And this is actually something I like about this show quite a bit. Like I said, when I first heard it, and especially depending on how you feel about Peppa Pig, like the fact that you're hearing like Grandpa Pig's voice and Miss Rabbit's voice, and that's who voices the Wise Old Elf and Nanny Plum.
Yeah.
They're like the most recognizable voices from Peppa Pig. So like,
yes, if you know of Peppa, you know Miss Rabbit and Mrs. Rabbit. I think both have the same voice actor, and Grandpa Pig.
Yeah.
They are both those voices.
Yeah. But what I like about the show is exactly this thing, where you've got these two groups that are very different from each other, and they also both have sort of a symbiotic relationship with each other, because like you mentioned, the fairies use the magic, but they can't make wands. Only elves can make wands. And so like they know how to do that, but the elves don't really like magic, but they know that's part of what
it's their
they
trade.
contribute. Yeah. And so like it's interesting seeing them, because I think from what I've seen, both Nanny Plum and the Wise Old Elf, sort of to a fault, are on either side. So like even though Nanny Plum is like meant to be a teacher for the young kids, and usually gets them out of whatever magical problem they're in, she gets them into problems a lot of times too.
Yeah.
And so it's in those times that Wise Old Elf is like, well, see, magic, you don't need magic. You shouldn't be using magic, because that's his whole thing. And then on the other side, like he'll get into a big physical scrape. Like I'm thinking of when they go, like they lower him into the beehive. they're like, how are we going to get honey out? And I think they're like, we could just magic it out. It's like, nope, I've got it figured out. And he comes in with like a bee costume, and they lower him in on a crane, and he scoops it out, and then all the bees come after him.
Yeah.
And then in the end,
if you
Nanny
just
Plum has to do
magic,
something. Yeah. So like, and so like each of them to a fault, like won't admit that there are useful things about the other one.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's really quippy like that. And it's fun to watch, not just as sitting with your kid. I mean, that's the only time I'm really going to watch it. But it's not one of those that I turn on and I'm like, okay, let's turn this off. It's something that you're kind of enjoying at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to say this one for me is like up there with it's up there with like Daniel Tiger and Bluey. Not
quite.
I'm
not
saying at the same quality level, but it's in the rarefied category of
I don't mind watching this with you.
That I might leave on by accident. Truly by like she'll leave the room and she's been gone for 30 minutes and I realize I've been watching Ben and Holly for 30 minutes.
Right. So there are several other characters in this world, but I've kind of named the main characters. One other one is Gaston. And he is a ladybird. He is a male ladybird, and of those of you that Americans, we call those ladybugs.
Yeah.
The little bugs that are red that have the black dots on them. Other people call them ladybirds.
Yeah.
He is the male ladybird who lives in a small cave. He likes things that are gross, like smelly and taste bad and stuff. He helps Ben if Ben needs to fly, because Ben cannot fly because he is an elf. And Nanny Plum understands animal language, so she is able to speak with him and translate what he's saying, and he kind of speaks in like barks. It's almost like he's the dog. He's kind of like the pet dog.
He's like
of
a
the group.
dog horse. But as a ladybug.
A flyer, but a flying dog horse.
Yeah. That'd be terrifying.
But something that I thought was so funny, because when you think of pets or animals, you don't think of this. Especially if you're in a show that has mostly humanoid main characters. It said Gaston has a brother, Tony, and a sister-in-law, Pam.
Sister-in-law.
Hold on.
Tony and Pam.
Yeah. Gaston has a brother, Tony, a sister-in-law, Pam, 2 nieces, Amber and Emerald, and a nephew, Keith.
So we have his whole family tree.
I read that and I had to reread it to make sure we were still talking about Gaston the Ladybird.
That's so funny.
The nephew, Keith. Common Sense Media gave it a 4 out of 5, saying it was, quote, charming, and it promoted friendship and perseverance. The Toy Insider also gave the show a positive review, saying that it was entertaining and taught positive values. And it really is a very cute little show. If you're a fan of Peppa, or maybe not a fan, but if you have children that watch Peppa, you will recognize the voices, and it will confuse you a little bit at first.
Yeah.
Because you usually think of, this voice should be coming from Miss Rabbit or Mummy Rabbit, but instead it's coming from Nanny Plum. So.
What's crazy about this show is how much better it is than Peppa Pig.
It is much better than Peppa Pig.
And the thing is, and Peppa Pig is still such a phenomenon, and I don't feel like I see... Well, I guess I'm not in all the parenting blogs or anything, but I don't think this has gotten as much notoriety as Peppa Pig did.
Right.
And it's just so amazing that the same people made these 2 shows, because for me, we've talked about this already, we won't rehash it a lot, but Peppa has some value to it, but it's pretty vapid at times. There's just not much to it.
Yeah.
And there's so much more to this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They only made 2 seasons of it.
What a shame.
And I think it was and I don't have the years up right now. But I think it was 2011 and 2012, or it was in the teens. It was in the 20 teens.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Yeah, can you look that up for me? But it was only 2. They only made 2 seasons of it. Both of the seasons are on Netflix right now. So look at that real quick for me. First episode.
This says first episode date 2009, final episode 2014.
Yeah, I mean, British television
is
kind of comes out. It's only 2.
It's 2 series. It's 104 episodes.
Yeah, so they're the littler, they're the shorter episodes. So there's plenty of content, but only 2 seasons, and it so it was 2009 to 2014, but only 2 series. So if I recommend it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think this is one of our faves for sure. Ben and Holly's, or is it Holly and Ben? It's
Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom.
Sometimes I get it mixed up and say Holly and Ben's, but
sometimes I say Magic Kingdom, and that's wrong too.
Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom.
Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom.
It's really cute. Very good.
Yeah. Watch it. Well, you don't have to.
You're the boss.
Boom. What if that was it? What
You're
if we
the
were
boss.
out? All right. Well, this has been another episode of Not Suitable for Adults.
Mm-hmm.
We thank you for your attention and for your time.
You are dismissed.
We're going to let you out of class about 5 minutes early today. You've been great. No, but seriously, we really appreciate you sticking with us. It is a new year, and we're just going to keep on trucking.
Yeah.
We are very excited to keep doing these things, and we hope you're excited too. And if you are, hey, please tell someone about the show.
And we are going to be doing a little bit of a move in the next couple months, so we'll keep you guys updated on that if it's going to affect release. If it affects any of our recordings or whatever, but that still won't be some weeks away.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure, get caught up if you're not already. I know that there's some people who are kind of behind from the holidays, but get caught up on the show. I mean, if you're listening to this one, I guess you're caught up.
No, not always. Some people listen to the newest things like you do.
Yeah.
I have to go from the bottom up.
From the very beginning. Start from the bottom. Now you're here.
That's right.
But do that. Leave a review.
Please.
If you would, that would be great. If you haven't caught, this is really like, this is a legit reason you can be behind. But if you haven't already, go back and listen to the podcast Secret Santa series that we did over Christmas. We hosted a show on Second Watch, their show about, how Sean Bean would die in various, movies. We came up with one for, 2 scenarios actually for Home Alone. And then Drinkipedia, the podcast, they hosted our show, did a great job.
Fantastic job. I actually have the show. I only listened to the first half because they made me interested in the show and that they were talking about. So
trying to avoid the spoilers.
Yeah.
They do a heavy spoiler on that show.
On the second half, yeah.
But go back and listen to those shows, and there were fully 10 other episodes of podcasts that you could listen to from that really great group of people that we got to trade out with. Hopefully that'll be a thing we do again next year or this year.
It was a lot of fun.
All right. Well, it's the beginning of the year. We talked about this at the beginning. You've just got to take care of yourself and take care of others. This is the only thing that you must do. Like you're required to be.
Okay. Go ahead.
What do you want to say?
What do you want to say?
I want to talk about Peppa Pig.
Okay, say
All
something
right.
about
Corey's going to
Peppa
tell us
Pig.
a little bit about Peppa Pig real quick.
Just a couple of things.
Peppa Pig is a pig.
Yes.
And he's pink.
That's
True.
What's her brother's name?
George.
What's George's favorite thing?
Dinosaur.
That's right.
Rawr.
Anything else?
Peppa likes teddy bears.
Okay.
Hey, Corey, can you say, can you just tell the people, can you say, hey, you're the boss?
Nope.
Say it.
No.
Say, you're the boss.
No.
Okay, bye.
Okay.
Sometimes you're the boss.
Yes.
I was cueing you.
But that would be backwards.
I know. It was a little swapperoo. Jeez. Okay, you say
Now
it.
let's try again.
So you want me to say that again?
You do whatever you know what? You're the boss.
So watch whatever you want.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Jeez.